Welcome to Unstoppable, where dreams turn into plans and plans turn into powerful action. Hosted by Paula Swain, financial planner, business owner, grandma, and queen of reinvention. This show is for women ready to stop surviving and start thriving. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll tackle the messy, beautiful, in-between parts of life that no one really talks about, but we all live through. This is Unstoppable.
Hi, and welcome to Unstoppable. I'm Paula Swain, your host and financial planner with the Financial Center for Women. So one of my first guests, I think it was the third show, was Eboney with Liberty Financial, and we talked about budgeting, I think.
We did.
So I gave Eboney no questions for today. I thought we would just chat about money. And you know, it's so rare for me to be a financial planner talking about money on the show because we talk so much about life in general, but we're going to focus on money. So welcome back.
Thanks. I'm happy to be back.
Okay. What do you want to talk about money?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to put the ball in your
court.
court.
Geez. You know what? I think that is a really good question. I would say probably what's top of mind for a lot of people right now is stress and dealing with financial stress and what that looks like. So we can always talk about that.
Yeah, stress sucks. But I think if you've set yourself up properly from the beginning, and I know a lot of people, this is not their beginning, this is many, many years into it. And you can even start now. If you start with, saving a little bit for emergencies, a little bit for retirement, covering your expenses, living within your paycheck. I know that sounds like an odd thing to say, but living within your paycheck, you don't have financial stress.
That is true. But I think what I have found personally and what I have found for other people, it's life that brings it. I think sometimes people think stress comes from just having a lot of debt or having a lot of making bad decisions with your money. And that's usually not it. It's, okay, I made all the right choices, but we're still in this new place. Now what?
Right, that's those things that just throw you right off track. And, as a financial planner, we try to plan for some of those things.
Yeah.
But I can't plan for a divorce. I can plan what happens if somebody passes away.
Yes.
I can do that. I can make that life could go smoothly, right, by planning for that. But I can't plan for the medical emergency, and
nope,
just can't do it.
You can't. And I think a lot of times when people are in a comfortable space and then something happens to change things, there's that shame that comes, which adds to the stress. So now you're like, okay, I checked all the boxes. I did all of the things I was supposed to do. Now I'm in this new place and have to rebuild. Now I have shame because I should have whatever else that we add after should, right? And I think when you do have those medical things or divorce or, just raising children, right? That's expensive. All of those things can really add to that sense of shame of like, why am I here? How did I get here? How do I fix it? Even if you have all of the tools, how do I fix this thing that just shouldn't happen? But here we are.
But I think a lot of people get under financial stress because I don't want to say they're making bad decisions. I'm trying to say this politically correct. But they make decisions on the fly.
Yes.
Instead of thinking about what's the financial impact of that decision before I make it. So it's almost like you need a 24-hour, 48-hour rule where you say, okay, like the Amazon cart. You know what it's always what I like to do for myself, and this it sounds crazy, but I give myself a dollar amount. If it's under $20, for example, go for it.
right? Just you can do that. Not now you can't do that 5 times, but
Just give Sayla. That's it. That's easy. I'll just do it 5 times.
No, but if you do it like, if it's $20, okay, fine. You want to get a $20 shirt or something cool. But if it's over whatever that amount you set for yourself, you need to wait 24 hours. And definitely if it's over, if it's several $100s, you need to wait at least 2 days and see if it's something that you still actually want to do. That curbed my emotional spending tremendously because I could still buy a little something, right? If I wanted to take a little lunch or something. So I didn't have that sense of lack, that sense of like, oh, you can't do something. Because as soon as you tell somebody they can't do something, that's all they want.
Yeah, I guess it's true about, if you're feeling, it's maybe understanding what is your trigger for why you spend. Is it that I feel really lonely and vulnerable right now, so I'm going to go buy a new, dress or a pair of shoes to make me feel better, which ultimately doesn't make you feel better.
No. You just look pretty while you feel bad.
Yes. Well, what can we say?
We
just look pretty while we feel bad, right? I mean, maybe we could call that like
that's a new thing.
Yeah. Look pretty while you feel financially stressed. But I think that you have to understand why you're making the decisions you're making. And sometimes that's not easy for people to figure out. And everything, I think, to have financial freedom, to have health freedom, to have all those things that we all want, to have a purpose-driven life and to have joy, all comes with understanding. Look at that. I made a money show about life coaching.
Well, but you know what though? So, you've heard me say before, 80% of financial management and like financial literacy is emotional. The 20% is the math. The math is easy. It's the 80% that usually trips people up in figuring out what your triggers are. Are you scared to spend money? Or do you not care? Do you not think? Like, what are those things? And that's the part that people don't spend enough time on. They'll sit all day and create budgets and use apps and trackers and all of that. But if you still don't know why you do what you do, you're going to continue to have this same problem, no matter how beautiful your spreadsheet is or how glorious your app is. So you definitely need to know your why. You need to spend the time to do it, which, it's not pretty work, so people don't want to do it.
Yeah, when you have to dig deep down into your soul and figure out why you're doing the things you are, it's not pretty. But when you do it, you can have that financial freedom, and you can make wiser decisions.
Yeah.
And financial freedom isn't about having $1 million or $2 million.
No.
It's just about being able to know that you're safe.
Yeah, which financial safety is huge. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that that's the source of all of their other issues. Like maybe your relationships fail because you're stressed out about money all the time, right? You have a poor relationship with your job because you're stressed about money, or you interact poorly with your children because you're always worried about money. There's so many other things that can be traced back to that. So it's like if you instead did a little introspection and figured out, how you are who you are when it comes to money specifically, so many things can be fixed.
And I think with that too is don't give money power.
No.
It should have no power over you.
It shouldn't.
It's a tool.
It is a tool. And it shouldn't give you power, but I think that can be easier said than done if DTE's calling you, or your kid's tuition is due and you don't have it, or something else. So it's one of those things where it's like, yes, this thing doesn't have power over me, and also I need to fix this situation that I have. Those two things can really feel at odds and make it harder to focus when you're trying to do something. I was recently talking to a friend of mine who, him and his wife, they both make very good money. They are good parents. Like they have the house, the cars, the animals, right? All the things. And they are very, very comfortable. But there's all this other little things that happen, right? This car needs work. This kid needs this new thing. This tree fell on something. Now you have to fix that. And now so all these other little money things where it's like, yes, we can afford to pay for these things. However, this wasn't planned. Right. And so now you have to look at these
you got to
things.
have in your budget plan for the unplanned.
You do.
You can't have enough in your budget for the unplanned. Possibly you can, depending on ours. But I always think that if you're a married couple, mm-hmm. depending on what your priorities are, right? What's important to you. If you lived on one person's income and banked the rest,
you would be solid, but no one does that.
No, because you want to keep up with the Joneses.
Exactly. And so I definitely find that to be the case when I'm talking to several friends, right? It's like, yeah, they're making great money, so why not get the bigger house? Why not get a new car every, 2 to 3 years or every 4 years?
So let's not get the bigger house. Let's stay in the house that we have. And you know what? Now we want to go spend 2 weeks mm-hmm. in Europe.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah.
And experiences are and building memories are so much more important than mm-hmm. the choice that we have.
I agree. But it can be hard, I think, for people, especially if you're hanging out with folks who have all of this stuff and then you're spending time with these people. I know for myself, I've been divorced now for 11 years, and I have a lot of friends that are on all of the spectrum financially, right? So folks that are just kind of making it and folks that are just living spectacularly well. And anywhere in between that. And there's times where you could be like, oh, maybe I need to have a new car, or maybe now I need to have a bigger house. Or, you start to think that if you're hanging around people that have all those things. So even if you know it happens to me every now and again, right? It's like, yeah, I love my home. It's an older home. I love it. My daughter and I, it's just great. But every now and again, I'm like, oh, it would be great if I had like this other thing. And then I stop and think, well, no, because that's like,
I guess you got to kind of think, okay, if I have this, if I have an X, mm-hmm. what do I have to give up to have X?
Exactly.
And then how important does X become mm-hmm. when I know I have to give this up?
Right. Which is a lot easier to do, I feel like, if it's just you making those financial decisions. Sometimes if you are partnered, now you've got two people, and now you have those competing realities of what's important and what you both want to do. So it's like, oh, okay, I have a car that's paid off. That's great. Do you need to get a new car? Can't we just have two paid off cars? Like, why is this a thing that we have to do? Why not? So those kinds of conversations. I don't think, like, we know logically that that's how it's supposed to be. But I think when people are in those dynamics, it's harder.
Well, I think that becomes important too when you're having those kind of conversations. First of all, they should happen before you get into a relationship.
They should.
And I know things change. I get that. And yes, if we lived in the perfect world, we'd all have marriage counseling, financial counseling. We'd all put 20% in our 401ks mm-hmm. and we would do everything perfect.
Right.
But we don't. Mm-hmm. But having those conversations before you get into a relationship mm-hmm. and you understand that this person's a saver, but this person's a spender. And yes, they can cohabitate and can be very happy, but they have to understand mm-hmm. why somebody is the way they are when it comes down to their money.
Yeah, and I don't think that I think that's the part that people skip over. I know my ex-husband and I, we did do that. Like we did the counseling thing, but it was like a rushed counseling situation. So we just like, okay, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We came to a few, conclusions about what we would do. And we stuck to those things financially. But life changed, people changed, situations occur. And so I think having those conversations is great, but you have to know yourself so that when you are having those conversations, you're both being honest. Because I also think too, I know it's I think people aren't honest.
What's wrong with you, Ebony?
They're not honest with themselves, and then they're definitely not going to be honest with this person they're all lovey-dovey with, and they're moon-eyed, especially if you're getting married and you're in your 20s and you're just not thinking, and you're like, oh, it's fine, it'll all work out. I just don't think people are honest enough with themselves about the realities of it because people don't talk about money in their lives in general, and then they definitely don't talk about it in a healthy way with their partners. And so that's the part that I think gets you to the place where you've been married or you've been with someone 20 years and you both now have completely different financial goals and outlooks. And now you're in this weird space.
Well, it's important, I think, that once a week, once a month, once every 2 weeks, that you have the money conversation.
Absolutely.
And I think both people should be involved in how things are paid. Where is the money coming from? If we're saving for something that it's important. You can't have one person saving for X and the other person doesn't care if X even ever happens.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Because then they get upset, like, oh, but let's divert some of that over to this instead. And you got to have those conversations. How often it works for your relationship, but you have to.
You do.
And even with a single person, you need to sit down once a week, once a month, whatever it is, and have the conversation with yourself about what's important to you and how you're going to get there. And
I call them money dates. So I have a nice little money date with myself. I sit down, I have a nice tea or wine, depending on how life is going. And, you set aside that 30 minutes and really just get into the numbers and figure out, okay, these are my goals. How close am I to them? Do I need to adjust them? What does that look like for me? And then you can move forward and you can be comfortable. And that's where that joy comes from. That's where that peace and knowing what's going on, because you know your numbers, you know what is. But I know enough people don't do that.
No.
That's how I
No.
When I'm working with people, they definitely don't do that. But once they do it, I've been following up lately with like past clients, and the ones that have been the most successful are the people who stick to the money date, even if they go completely off the rails, but they're still checking and they're still like doing the work of just at least looking at the numbers and figuring out, okay, this is what I want to do. And it helps them course correct easier when there is an issue. So I've seen in the long run how that works beyond myself, but like for other folks. And I think it's really important. It's just that little step of being honest with yourself. And if you have a partner, be honest with your partner, and hopefully they're honest with you, and work together to like get where you want to go.
And incorporate your kids.
Absolutely. You have to talk to kids about money. I know people don't talk to their kids about money.
When I
in the
grew
right
up,
way.
we didn't have a lot of money. I knew we didn't have a lot of money, but I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
I just knew. And so then I carried with me into my adult life and had really honestly just got over that feeling of scarcity, even though I manage money, but for myself, that form of scarcity in the last few years.
Yeah. We learn so much by what we see, right? That's that nature-nurture conversation. And it doesn't matter what your parents tell you. You see what they're doing. You see the faces they make. You see the stress. You feel it.
Right.
And so you internalize that, and then that becomes your money story moving forward. So I know, I don't know. I tell my daughter all the time, she's my experiment. She's my long-term financial coaching experiment, but she really is, because I've always spoken to her about money since the divorce. I was 3 when she was 3 when I got divorced. And so just talking to her about money and how things work in age-appropriate ways. But, it's like, hey, you want this thing? Okay, well, we have to save for it if this is something that you want. And then getting her involved in managing her own money when she was 9 during COVID, because I couldn't give her cash. We weren't really going anywhere anyway, but couldn't really get cash because we weren't going anywhere to use the cash. So I moved her allowance to a debit card. And so we use Greenlight, so she's been able to do that. So then that way, if she wants Robux, if she wants to get some app, or if she wants to do something, then she could do it herself and she could manage it herself. So she'll be 15 next month, which is crazy. But she's really, really good at managing her money. And like, okay, well, I want these books, because that's where she spends all her money now, books and Starbucks. And so it's like, okay, I need to like save, and I need to maybe do some extra work or babysit or something to get more money to buy more things. I wasn't thinking that way when I was her age.
Right.
I mean, I had jobs, but I was just like, woohoo, all right, I'm just gonna, it's gone.
And that brings up another point too, when we were talking about even as a couple or even when you're doing your own money date and you have these goals, these things that you want to accomplish, and there isn't enough money.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell my kids, there was a time in my life when I was divorced from my first husband, before I was remarried, I worked 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're like, oh yeah, times are different, blah, blah, blah. But I worked it because I had to.
Mm-hmm. You have to.
And I think sometimes when, you know, someone said to me the other day, I struggled over the winter with paying my bills because my income dried up or whatever. And I thought, McDonald's is always hiring. You know what I mean? Like, when does it come to where you are responsible that when something's not working out, you have to make a change?
Yeah.
And if it is, and then I always get this flash. I have kids that need to be taken care of. I mean, I know that it takes a community.
It does.
But it's sometimes, you know, I had other people watching my children, or they were at their dad's. I was working, you know, at a bar at night, working my full-time job in advertising. And then I'd work till 3 a.m. and I'd get up and be at a restaurant being a hostess at 8 a.m. for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I did that when my kids were at their father's. So I think that I have a hard time when someone says,
well, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to be tired. Because I was doing a similar thing when my daughter was younger, and I was doing home health care. And so when she would go to her dad's every other weekend, I was working 40 hours on top of my 40 hours at my day job. So I was working, you know, second and third shifts. I was doing 24 hours over the weekends to try to, you know, fill the gaps.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I need to make more money. And they were like, well, just bring her with you and you can do some overnights, because it was 11 to 7 and she was little. And so I kind of bribed her. I was like, well, if you come with me, you just got to come and you sleep. Because, I mean, it's literally 11 to 7. If you sleep and if you come and you don't complain about it, I'll buy you a book. I've probably started her book problem, but and so
not a bad problem.
It's not a bad problem. So, but she was like, okay, fine. And so she would come and she would sleep. I bought all of her stuff. She would sleep, and then she would sleep all night. I was able to get extra shifts in. So you do have to be willing to be uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to be resourceful. When you have little kids, it's harder. I mean, she's a teenager now, so you know, if I needed to go work somewhere, I can do that and do third shift and have more opportunity to do it because I didn't have to wait. I could work every week if I wanted to.
I'm thinking, when did you sleep?
Very carefully. Well, the beauty of that third shift was I slept while I was there too. So like I didn't lay down and sleep, but I was able to sit on the couch because the residents were sleeping. So technically you weren't supposed to sleep, but everybody did.
She never slept. Nah, you did not. You never
No, I didn't.
Don't tell on yourself.
No, I'm out of work anymore, so it's fine. But no, I slept lightly. I mean, I was a parent, so, and the residents slept through the night. Very rarely did they get up, so it was fine. So I set a little alarm for myself, got a couple hours of sleep, and then moseyed on.
I think that's a different attitude for a lot of people is, what am I willing to do to be where I want to be?
Yeah.
And also, I mean, you were working multiple shifts. I was working, and it wasn't to be, it was to make sure I didn't get, it was to cover some of the things that I needed to cover, but it was also to make sure that I didn't end up having to use a credit card or all those things. But I didn't get it and spend it.
Yeah.
I used it to help. Right?
Yeah.
You can get accustomed to living on, it's like the people who work overtime.
Yeah.
You know, great, you know, automotive's paying, you know, you're working 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, you're bringing in X. And then, it's gone.
Yeah.
But you got so used to living on that 80 hours a week that when 40 comes,
you can't.
you don't. So it's like you live on the 40 and work the overtime to get yourself ahead.
Which I think is ideal for most folks, but I also find too, especially lately, so I know for myself, some of the issues that I've had, and I've seen this play out for other people, is when you have when you're laid off and you have an extended layoff. Like I've been laid off twice in the last 11 years. And the first time I was laid off for a little over a year, but I had the savings and it was fine, right? And I also had my business. And so it was it worked out. It was comfortable and I was able to make it work. And then I had a new job and I was able to sort of replenish a little bit, but things happened because I was laid off for a year. That's a long time. So I was like, okay, well now I have to figure this out. Okay, great. I got a new job. Things were better. And then start building those savings again. And then I was laid off again for 8 months. So now we're in a different space because all of that savings from before, I had to use it to survive. So now you're in a place of you have to work those extra jobs. You have to do the extra things just to maintain. And I think that's the hard part. If you've cut everything you need to cut, you still need. And so I think that's the piece that can get tiring and it can get stressful over time. But you have your why. It's like, okay, do you want to live in your car or do you want to keep your house? Like those are your questions, because renting a house or renting an apartment can be more than a mortgage and can be, especially for me when I bought my house. I bought my house 9 years ago. There's no way I would get the same home for the amount of money that I was able to get it for 9 years ago. It's like 2.5 times the houses in the area going for that, which is yay for me and my equity. But it changes the landscape. So I think a lot of times when you find yourself in situations like that, then you're like, when did you sleep? I don't know. I have no idea how I did it. But I had to get it done because we had to do it.
Like when I was working 3 jobs, you just did it.
You just do it. You think it later on, you're like, oh, gee, I forgot. I don't know how I did that. But you have to do what you have to do. And so I think that creates that resiliency gene for yourself. And when your kids seeing you be resilient, they see you working, they see you, trying to your best to help. It changes something in them too in a positive way, I think, because it's like, okay, I know why we're not going to Aruba.
Wow, I want to go to Aruba.
I would like to go to Aruba too, but no, we're going to go to Ohio to visit family. Yeah. That's what we're going to do instead.
We didn't have vacations when I was growing
up. No, I didn't either. I think the first time, I was just telling my daughter this the other day, the first time I took a vacation with my mom, I was an adult. I was married. Like I was a married woman by the time, so I was in my late 20s by the time I took a vacation with my mom. I would go with like a grandparent or that kind of a thing, but never with my mom. And it was one of those moments as we were on the way back from it. It's like, we've never done this before. We vacation a lot now, but it's an interesting thing. But I didn't feel bad about it. Like I never felt deprived because we had so much fun. We had a great time.
Yeah. I think that's part of why some people have spending is because they did grow up feeling deprived.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have to end this conversation.
Oh, geez, that was fast.
I know, everybody says that. When you get into the groove, it does go by pretty fast. Mm-hmm. So if somebody would like to get a hold of you, how would they reach out? Yeah,
so you know what? They can reach me through my website, which is libertyfinancialllc.com. There's a contact button on there. It's a perfect way to get a hold of me.
So did you choose that name before Liberty Insurance came out?
No. So my business name is Liberty Financial Services because I was thinking freedom. That was the reason, which is also why you see the keys everywhere, right? So I know. Every now and again, I get people that reach out to me.
Get some that cute guy sitting on the park bench saying Liberty.
I know, yeah.
And cannolis or cannoli, whatever it is. Anyway.
That would be awesome. No, I did not. Now I'm like, I probably should have thought that through, but it's good.
Yeah, who knows? So thanks again.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So this has been Unstoppable, where we dream, grow, and thrive. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for watching Unstoppable. Do you have a question for Paula? Send it our way. To schedule a one-on-one consultation, give us a call. Unstoppable is brought to you by Paula Swain and the Financial Center for Women. Dream, grow, thrive.